Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, if you work in local commerce, you absolutely know this feeling. The shop door chimes, a customer walks in, and suddenly you realize, oh no, they don't speak my native language. Well, today we're going to take that anxiety you feel about speaking English with customers and transform it into total confidence. We are basically building a simple, highly visual retail survival toolkit that you can pull out every single day on the shop floor. So, an English speaker walks into your shop. Do you know what to say? Look, it's completely normal to feel that little moment of panic when an international customer approaches you. Your mind just goes blank, your heart beats a little faster, and you're terrified of making a mistake, right? But today we're going to fix that together. By the end of this explainer, you're going to have the exact right words queued up and ready to go. Here's our game plan for today. We'll start by mastering the essential WH question words. Then we'll clear up the whole what versus which confusion. Third, we'll break down the do/does question formula. Fourth, we'll cover how to handle fast talkers gracefully. And finally, we'll wrap up with some key verbs and a really cool communication technique called mirroring. All right, let's jump right into part 1, mastering WH question words, the absolute foundation. This right here is the bedrock of all your customer interactions. I mean, if you can't ask questions, you really can't help them buy, right? But the fantastic news is you don't need to learn the entire dictionary for this. You just need to instantly pair these 6 WH words with practical, everyday shop examples. Okay, so what is for gathering general information? What are you looking for is literally the perfect greeting. Now, if you need them to choose an option, you use which, as in which one do you prefer? For location, it's where, like where did you see it? For time or dates, you ask, when do you need it? If they're clearly buying a gift, you use who for people, asking who is it for? And finally, how covers the method or manner, which is absolutely critical for closing the actual sale. How do you want to pay? Try to take a mental snapshot of these phrases right now. These are your ultimate go-to tools. Moving right along to part 2, what versus which, and clearing up that confusion. This is such a common trip up for beginners, but getting it right instantly makes you sound so much more professional. Think about it like this. When a customer first walks in, the possibilities are literally endless. They could buy anything in your store. That's a wide open choice. So naturally, you ask, what do you want to buy? Now imagine you've successfully narrowed down their interest to 2 specific items sitting right on the counter. The choice is now limited to just 2 or 3 things. That is exactly when you flip the switch to which. Which do you like, the red one or the blue one? So just keep that golden rule in your back pocket. An open universe equals what, while limited options right in front of you equals which. Okay, part 3, the do/does question formula for building sentences. I honestly love this because it takes something that feels kind of complicated, grammar, and makes it totally mechanical, like an assembly line. In English, to ask a question in the present simple tense, we need the auxiliary verb do. By treating this sentence structure as a simple 4-step assembly process, you can easily plug in words to ask what do you need instead of the clunky incorrect what you need. Step 1, just pick your question word from earlier. Let's use what. Step 2, insert do. Step 3, the person, you. Step 4, the verb, need. What do you need? If you follow these exact steps, your grammar will be spot on every single time. And it works for everything, like how many do you want? Or you can just start right at step 2 to ask a yes or no question, like do you have the receipt? Now, we just tweak that formula a tiny bit depending on whether you're selling something uncountable, like milk, or countable, like apples. For things you simply cannot count individually, think liquids, meat, money, or time, you use how much. You don't say 1 milk, 2 milks, right? So you ask, how much milk do you want? But for individual items you can physically point to and count, like bottles, apples, or shirts, you use how many. How many bottles do you want? Just remember this quick trick. If you can physically count it on your fingers, use how many. Which brings us to part 4, handling fast talkers gracefully. Consider this your panic button. Let's address the ultimate fear. What do you do when they are just talking way too fast and you haven't understood a single word? Please, whatever you do, don't just smile and nod when you're confused. Remember, most customers are super happy to help, so use polite clarification phrases and simple hand signals to comfortably slow down the conversation. The absolute easiest way is just a polite sorry or pardon. If you need them to say the whole thing again, simply ask, could you repeat that, please? If they're still talking at a mile a minute, just ask, can you speak more slowly, please? Now, if you caught just one word in that whole sentence, verify it. Did you say, or keep it incredibly simple, point to the item and ask, Do you mean this one? And here's a pro tip for you. Physically use your hands to gently signal them to slow down. And just be honest. Tell them, slowly please, my English is basic. You'll be amazed at how quickly people will adjust to help you out. And finally, part 5. Key verbs and mirroring to smoothly close that sale. You literally don't need to understand every single word the customer says. You just need to play detective and listen closely for these 4 specific request verbs because they are your biggest clues to understanding exactly what action they want you to take. If you hear the phrase looking for, as in I am looking for a gift, that means they want to browse. If you hear need, like I need a bigger size, they have a very specific requirement. If they use the word show, can you show me that one? They want a demonstration. And if they say recommend, what do you recommend? They're asking for your expert shopkeeper opinion. Just train your ears to catch those 4 verbs. All of this builds perfectly into our final pro-level technique, which is called mirroring. Mirroring is this fantastic little trick where you simply repeat their request back to them, confirming the number and the noun. It genuinely makes you look totally in control. So before you grab a bag, before you even touch the register, you just act like a mirror, reflecting their exact words back to them as a question. Let's see this in action. It's the safest way to confirm an order. The customer says, I'd like 3 kilos of oranges. Your brain extracts the most important info, the quantity and the item, and you repeat it back as a question. 3 kilos? Certainly. Why do this? Well, it buys you a few precious seconds to think, it proves to the customer you're actively paying attention, and it guarantees that you don't accidentally pack 3 apples instead of 3 kilos of oranges. It's simple, it's elegant, and it is highly, highly effective. So, are you ready for your next international customer? With these practical tools securely in your toolkit, you've got your what words, your do-does formula, your polite clarification phrases, and that smooth mirroring technique. You are completely prepared to turn that initial wave of panic into a confident, successful sale. The next time that shop door chimes and an English speaker walks in, I want you to remember these tools, take a deep breath, and just own the conversation. So I'll leave you with this thought. When that door chimes tomorrow, what will be the very first phrase you confidently pull out to surprise your next customer? Thanks so much for hanging out with me on this explainer, and happy selling!